15 fun facts about the Lake of the Ozarks. Some of these you probably know, some you've probably never heard before. So let's get into it. But first, let me say this. The Lake of the Ozarks, for those of you that don't know, it became, I would say, somewhat popular on a national level or known as a result of the Netflix show Ozark, which we've got another video about that and the correlation and the things to know about where that was actually shot, which wasn't here. But the Lake of the Ozarks, for those of you that aren't aware, it is the best place to own a second home in the Midwest. I would argue the best place to own a second home pretty much anywhere because of its uniqueness. And you can see a map of it behind me. Here are some fun things that some of you may have not known about the Lake of the Ozarks. First, the surface area of the Lake of the Ozarks is approximately 61,000 square miles. As you've seen in previous videos, we've talked about how it is actually a reservoir. It's a flooded river. There is, which is fun fact number two, there are over the actual main channel of the lake. So you can see here, it basically runs from up here where it dams and comes all the way and runs all the way to Warsaw, Missouri, where Truman Lake was created to help feed the Lake of the Ozarks. That main channel is 92 miles. Now, that doesn't even include all of the different arms off of the lake, which I currently sit on the Niangua arm, which is almost 20 miles, which is just a part of the lake. So 61,000 square miles, and the main channel runs over 92 miles. Number three, at its greatest depth, the Lake of the Ozarks is 130 feet deep. As we've talked about, and we'll talk about in other videos, there were flooded towns when they created the Lake of the Ozarks. There are flooded cemeteries, which we've created an entire video towards. So it is 130 feet deep at its deepest point. For those of you that are into fishing, it's a phenomenal lake for fishing, from bass to catfish to panfish like crappie and bluegill, and we've seen many walleye caught in the lake, paddlefish, which is something that some fishermen enjoy fishing for, and probably many more. If you are a fisherman and you've never fished the Lake of the Ozarks, you should definitely come and check it out. Number four, and we mentioned it being the most popular second home destination in the Midwest. In case you're wondering, of all the people who own two homes in the Midwest, which is a pretty expansive area, 40% own one at the Lake of the Ozarks. If you don't know about the Lake of the Ozarks, there is a lot of money here. I would say probably more farming money than any destination in the United States. And when I first started coming here, it made me realize, damn, farmers in many cases make a lot of damn money. And we know we have several farming friends just at our condo, and I'm sure they're all over the lake. But there's a lot of wealthy people in the Midwest that do maintain probably second, third, fourth, fifth home here at the lake. And 40% of the people in the Midwest own a home here at the Lake of the Ozarks. There are more than 70,000 homes along the Lake of the Ozarks, which subsequently means there's roughly 70,000 docks here at the Lake of the Ozarks. Many of you know one of the reasons why I love this place compared to many other lakes is it's one of the unique lakes that has a ton of things to do, but also allows you and affords you the opportunity to own lakefront property. So many lakes across the United States, and even in Missouri, they're core lakes, or they're lakes where they protect the shoreline. And I know many people will say that that's the reason why they don't like it here. But for me personally, if I'm going to own property on a lake and go to a lake, I want to be on the lake. I don't want to have to get in my car and drive 4 or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, to actually get to the lake. I want to be able to walk out my back door, walk down to a dock, which is another bonus, hang out on my dock, have my boat right there. It's just so much more convenient. And that's one of the many reasons why I personally love the Lake of the Ozarks. Now, we talk about homes on the Lake of the Ozarks, but there are actually 900 campgrounds around the Lake of the Ozarks. So, if owning a home isn't in your budget, or maybe renting isn't even in your budget, VRBO or Airbnb or something like that, or you just prefer to camp, there's actually 900 campgrounds, and many RV parks in and around the Lake of the Ozarks. So if you haven't checked that out, you definitely should. You heard that when the Lake of the Ozarks was originally built, that it was the largest man-made lake, I think, in the world. Today, it is actually the second largest man-made lake in Missouri behind Truman Lake, which ironically is the lake that was built and created to feed the Lake of the Ozarks. Speaking of water in the Lake of the Ozarks, the Lake of the Ozarks actually holds roughly 617 billion gallons of water. Just think about that. 617 billion gallons of water. For those of you that are doing something like 75 hard and you're drinking that gallon of water every day, how many years would it take you to drink that many billions of gallons of water? As I've mentioned before, there are several towns that were actually flooded when the Lake of the Ozarks was created. The town of Lynn Creek, which is one of those, is actually in its second location. It was moved after construction plans for the Lake of the Ozarks indicated that its original location would be flooded, and in fact, it was. So Lynn Creek is one of those towns that was originally flooded and was moved prior to the creation of Lake of the Ozarks. Between Memorial Day and Labor Day every year, there are approximately 4 million tourists that come through the Lake of the Ozarks. So that's not even including the people that actually have homes here or live here. I think that's one of the many reasons why a lot of people loathe the lake. I'm not sure why that would make you not like the lake, but yeah, it's busy. Because why? Because it's really cool and there's a lot of fun things to do, which we'll cover over the course of many other videos. Which leads into the next reason why people loathe the Lake of the Ozarks, which is that on major holiday weekends, you might find as many as 10,000 boaters out on the lake. It sounds kind of crazy. It is a little crazy. That's one of the things that makes this lake so incredibly unique, is the number of boaters. And I know that the quote unquote haters of the Lake of the Ozarks might say things like, yeah, and then it's a bunch of idiots and people that don't know how to drive boats. But when you put it in perspective and you think about the number of boats that are actually out on this lake, and then the number of accidents that there are, it's probably a minuscule number comparatively. But then again, of course, the haters just want to, of course, focus on the negative news or focus on the negative things that happen here. But when you really put it in perspective and the number of boats that are out here on the average weekend and then holiday weekends, which is over 10,000 boats, it's actually pretty impressive to think about. There's a lot of state parks around the Lake of the Ozarks, and the Lake of the Ozarks State Park is actually the largest state park in the state. There's over 2.5 million visitors going every year. It covers over 17,700 acres. It's free for the public, so anybody can go there. They have hiking trails, there's lake access, there's swimming, there's fishing, and pretty much anything else that you like to do in a state park. The largest fish at the Lake of the Ozarks is the spoonbill, also known as the American paddlefish. If you've never seen one of these, you should definitely Google it. It looks very prehistoric. It almost looks shark-like, but don't worry, they are harmless. They only feed, they're basically bottom feeders that feed off plankton. They were rarely known to interfere with boaters or swimmers or anything like that. And even if they did, it would be accidental. Occasionally, you will see a paddlefish jump up out of the water here at the lake, which is kind of cool. I don't really know the science behind that or why they're doing it, but it's pretty interesting to see. But when you see one floating maybe dead on the lake, you will think that you just saw a shark. It's not in the shark family. They are harmless, but it is the largest fish here at the Lake of the Ozarks. The largest one ever caught, 135 pounds, and was 6'4" from head to fin. And it's actually displayed at the Wilmore Lodge here at the Lake of the Ozarks in their museum. Interesting fun fact that I didn't even know, the word Ozarks is a toponym, which was derived from an abbreviation for the word Arkansas. I had no idea. The abbreviation for Arkansas is like AUX, A-U-X. Maybe it's pronounced ARCS, I'm not exactly sure. But that is where the word Ozarks actually was derived from. And I had no idea. But evidently there's something with Old English language and some variation of a French version. I guess that's where the word Arkansas comes from. And so the word Ozarks actually was derived from an abbreviation from Arkansas. And for those of you that don't know, Lake of the Ozarks is down in the southwestern part of Missouri, roughly about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Branson, which is on the border of Arkansas. The last and 15th fun fact for this video, I doubt many of you have heard this one before. I hadn't heard it before I found it. Was at one time, there was a Porsche, yes, a Porsche, the car, discovered at the bottom of the Lake of the Ozarks. And evidently, this Porsche, which was discovered back in 2002, belonged to Nicolas Cage, the actor. Nicolas Cage is from this part of the country. He's from southwest Missouri. And evidently, working off of a tip, the Missouri Water Patrol, the divers found it. It was a 1989 Porsche Sportster. It was in 12 feet of water, evidently only had 100 miles on it, and was a collector's item. And the rumor is it was actually Nicolas Cage's. Whether it is or isn't, it's kind of a fun fact about the Lake of the Ozarks. I hope you enjoyed these 15 fun facts about the Lake of the Ozarks. We will have many, many more facts and interesting data and all kinds of things about the Lake of the Ozarks. Just continue to follow along, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you don't miss any of our videos.